Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and I'm from Amanda Crochets, and in today's video I want to show you how to make the winter shell baby blanket. This blanket measures approximately 37 inches across by 43 inches long. You can always customize this blanket to be any size that you wish, as well as changing up the colors. You can make this in a solid color or you can use a striping color as I did here. So let's begin today's tutorial on making the winter shell baby blanket. So for today's tutorial, you're going to need 3 different colors. I'm using the Premier Anti-Pilling Everyday Worsted, and this is Like New Wash After Wash. This is 180 yards, 165 meters, 3.5 ounces, 100 grams. It is 100% anti-pilling acrylic, which means when you wash it, it's going to come out brand new and not have any pilling on it. This is considered a number 4 worsted weight yarn and is machine wash and dryable. The recommended hook size is a US I9 or 5.5 millimeter. So you're going to need this first color right here, which is called Spa, and I used 3 skeins of this color. Next you're going to need cream, and I used 3 skeins of cream. And finally I used this very pretty muted brown color, and this is called Chinchilla, and I used 2 skeins of Chinchilla. So you're going to need 2 skeins of Chinchilla and 3 skeins each of the cream and the Spa color. And then I'm also using the recommended hook size, which again is the I9 or 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So grab your hook, grab your yarn, and let's get started on today's tutorial. Okay, so for my blanket I started with that Spa color. You could start with whatever color you would like. And for my baby blanket, I ended up making 116 chains. If you want to make your blanket bigger or smaller, you just want to make sure that you go in a multiple of 6 plus 2. So that means you take any number and you multiply it by 6 to get your desired width. And once you're satisfied, you're going to end up making 2 more chains to the very end. So I did 116 chains for my baby blanket. As this is just going to be a small sample, I'm just going to be doing 6 times 4, which is 24, plus 2 for a total of 26 chains. So to make a chain, you're going to yarn over your hook and pull through that loop on your hook. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, continue until you have a total of 116 chains, or your multiple of 6 plus 2. Okay, so once you have your 116 chains, or your multiple of 6 plus 2, we can begin row 1. For row 1, we're going to make a single crochet in each of the stitches across. So you're going to skip that loop that's on your hook that does not count as a stitch. You're going to count 2 chains, so 1 and 2, and in that second chain you're going to go ahead and insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both loops, and that is your single crochet. If you are a beginner crocheter, I highly recommend getting a stitch marker and putting it right here in this very first stitch, so that way you know what the first and last stitch of your row is, and that will help keep your ends nice and straight. So insert your stitch marker right here. In that next chain, you're going to go ahead and make a single crochet. So yarn over, or I'm sorry, insert your hook into that next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. One more time, go into that next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Continue making 1 single crochet in each of the chains across. Okay, so here's your first row of single crochets. And again, if you're a beginner, insert your stitch marker right in here in the last stitch. And again, that's going to help keep your ends nice and straight. When you make more rows, simply go ahead and move your stitch marker up. So we're going to make a chain 1 and turn. And then for row 2, we're going to go ahead and make a single crochet right in that very first stitch. Then we're going to skip 2 stitches and we're going to make a shell stitch in the next stitch. To make a shell stitch, you're going to make 5 double crochets into the same stitch. So let's go ahead and skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and in the stitch after that, yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is your first double crochet. You're going to make 4 more double crochets into that same stitch, so yarn over, insert your hook into that same stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Go ahead and make 3 more double crochets into that same stitch. So that's what your shell looks like. Now we're going to go ahead and start the repeat. So you're going to skip 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and in that next stitch you're going to make a single crochet. Skip the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and in that stitch after that, go ahead and make your shell. Remember, your shell is 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, you're going to repeat this all the way across until you have 3 stitches remaining. So just repeat this all the way across by skipping 2 stitches, making a single crochet in the next, skip 2 stitches, and make a shell into the next. Repeat this until you have 3 stitches remaining, and I will show you how to end row 2 and move on to row 3. So that is what your second row will look like. Moving on to row 3, we're going to go ahead and chain 3 and turn. Now for row 3, we're going to go ahead and put 2 double crochets into that very first stitch. So that chain 3 does count as your first double crochet, so you're going to insert your stitch marker into the top of that chain 3. So make 2 double crochets into that very first stitch, and with that chain 3 acting as a double crochet, this is going to be 3 double crochets. You're going to skip the next 2 stitches and you're going to make a single crochet into the middle stitch of the shell from the previous row. So you have your 5 double crochet cluster right here. You're going to skip 2 of the very first stitches, and right here in the middle, so you're going to have 2 skipped stitches, and in the third stitch, that's where you're going to insert your single crochet. You're going to skip the remaining 2 stitches of that shell, and you're going to find the next stitch, which is that single crochet, and you're going to make your shell stitch inside that single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when you do this, Your shell stitches are going to be offset. So this is your first row and this is your second row of your shell stitches. So whenever you have your shell stitches, you're going to have your single crochet on top of the shell, and whenever you have your single crochet from the previous row, that's where you're going to make your shell stitch. So that way your shell stitches are offsetting, like I said. You're going to repeat this all the way across. So you're going to skip the next 2 stitches, and in that middle stitch of your shell, you're going to make a single crochet, skip the next 2 stitches, and in the single crochet from the previous row, go ahead and make your shell. You're going to repeat this all the way across until you have 3 stitches remaining. When you have 3 stitches remaining, I will show you how to end row 3 and move on to row 4. Okay, so I'm over at the end of row 3 and I have the 3 stitches remaining. I'm going to skip 2 stitches, and in that very last stitch I'm going to make 3 double crochets, and that's going to mimic the beginning of our row with the chain 3 and the 2 double crochets. So that is what your 3 rows looks like so far. So to continue the pattern for row 4 and above, you're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3 over and over again. I ended up making my color changes every 10 rows, so that way you have a total of 80 rows. So you're going to have 30 rows of the spa color, 30 rows of the cream color, and then 20 rows of the chinchilla color, or that muted brown color. So for row 4 and above, again, you're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3 over and over again for the pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and make my swatch a little bit bigger, and then I'll show you how to change colors. Okay, so I'm at the point where if you wanted to change colors, I can show you how to do that. So this is my last row, and I have these 3 double crochets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that last double crochet out, and instead of yarning over with that same color, I'm going to go ahead and leave a little bit of a tail, and I'm going to cut my yarn to weave in later. And then I'm going to get that new color, which in the sequence is actually going to be the cream color, but I'm just going to be using that brown color so you can see with the tutorial. You're going to leave a little bit of a tail and wrap the new color around your hook and pull through with that new color. Then I like to get the 2 ends and pull down a little bit just to tighten it, and then I can continue with my pattern. So that is how you would go ahead and switch colors. And then when you weave in your ends at the very end, you're going to weave them in with the same color. So weave in your brown end with your brown end, your cream end with your cream end, and of course the spa color with the spa color end. That way your tails will hide a little bit more and you won't be able to see them in your work. Okay, so you're just going to continue the pattern as such, and again you're going to be making a total of 80 rows, changing color every 10 rows. When you get to the very end of your blanket, I will show you how to make the border. So keep going until you have a total of 8 rows, and with your blanket you're going to be ending with that cream color. Okay, so after you chain 1 and turn, we're going to begin the border. So in order to even out your stitches, you're going to have to make 1 half double crochet in the first 3 stitches. So yarn over your hook, insert your hook into that very first stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. You're going to make a half double crochet into that next stitch, and a half double crochet into that 3rd stitch. in that next stitch or that single crochet stitch, go ahead and make a double crochet. In the stitch after that, make a half double crochet. In the next 3 stitches, go ahead and make 1 single crochet in each of those 3 stitches. And in the stitch after that, make a half double crochet. In the stitch after that, make a double crochet. In the stitch after that, make a half double crochet. And make 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. You're going to repeat this all the way across the top of your blanket. So you're going to make 1 half double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, and 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Repeat that all the way across, and when you have 2 stitches remaining, I will show you how to end with the top of your blanket. So repeat this all the way across until you have 2 stitches remaining on the top of your blanket. Okay, so I'm over at the end of the top of the blanket, and I have 2 stitches remaining. I'm going to make 1 half double crochet in each of those 2 stitches. Okay, and then if you look at your work, you can see how straight the top of your blanket is. So when you get to the corner, which is this very last stitch here, you're going to be making 3 half double crochets into that corner. So we have the 1 half double crochet ready. You're going to go ahead and make 2 more half double crochets into that same stitch, and that will help with the corner. Then you're going to be working along the side of your blanket. So you're going to make 1 half double crochet around the remainder of your blanket, so the 3 sides of your blanket. When you're working along the side, you're just going to make 1 half double crochet as evenly as possible along the side. When you get to that corner, you're going to make 3 half double crochets. Along the bottom, you're going to make 1 half double crochet, and then 3 half double crochets in this corner, 1 half double crochet along the top of your blanket, and I will meet you right here at this corner to show you how to finish. So again, make 1 half double crochet evenly in each of the 3 remaining sides of your blanket, putting 3 half double crochets in each of the corners. Okay, I'm over at my very first corner, and for that very first stitch we already have the 1 half double crochet, so you're just going to insert 2 more half double crochets to finish that corner. You're going to go ahead and find that first stitch, and you're going to make a slip stitch to that very first corner. Now I change colors, so my very first row is going to be the cream color for my border. The next row of my border is going to be that spa color, and then the next color after that is going to be this chinchilla brown color. And for rounds 2 and 3 of my border, you're just going to repeat the same thing as the previous round. So you're just going to make 1 half double crochet in each of the stitches around, making 3 half double crochets in each of the corners. Once you finish the next round, you're going to go ahead and switch colors. So again, my first round is the cream color. The second round is the spa color, and the third round is the chinchilla color. Once you have your 3 rounds of your border with the half double crochet stitches, we can go ahead and make the final round. And after each round, I did not turn my blanket. If you want to turn after each round of your border, you can do that. If you do not want to, that is fine as well. I did not turn after each round. Okay, so say that I made all of my rounds and I really want to finish off the blanket now. So with that final round, I made using a picot stitch, and I used that cream color. I'm just going to be using the same color so you can see it on camera. So to make a picot, you're just going to go ahead and chain 1, and you're going to make a single crochet in that very first stitch and a single crochet into that next stitch. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and you're going to insert your crochet hook into the top of that single crochet stitch right here, along with the 1 loop of the post. So just like that, you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops as well as the loop on your hook. And that is your picot. You're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and you're going to make your picot stitch again. So 1, 2, and 3 chains. You're going to insert your hook into the top of that single crochet along with the loop from the post of that single crochet, yarn over, and you're going to pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Make 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then make your picot. 3 chains, find the top of that single crochet along with that the post of that, the loop from the post of the stitch, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then here is what that picot stitch is going to look like. It's just a nice fun border. I like to add this to a lot of my blankets. And then you're just going to repeat that all the way around. When you come to the corners of your blanket, you don't need to do anything special. You're just going to continue on with that picot stitch around the entire blanket. Now if you wanted to keep the border in all one color, you can do that as well. If you wanted to change up the border as I did, you can do that as well. You can make the border in any color that you wish, as well as if you wanted to make the picot in a different color, you can do that too. So let me grab my blanket to show you the finished picot stitch border. Okay, so here's my border. So again, I have the first row, which is using that cream color, the second row using that spa color, and the third color using, or the third round using that chinchilla color. And each of those rounds are half double crochets, except for the top where I showed you how to even out the top. And then this is what your picot border will look like. Again, it's just a fun and interesting stitch to do, and I really like it to end all of my blankets a lot of the time. It's just really fun. So let me pull back a little bit so you can see what my blanket looks like. So again, you're going to have 10 rows of each color before you switch colors. You're going to start with the spa, move on to the cream, move on to the chinchilla, and then back to the spa color. You're going to repeat the color changes for 10 rows. So again, you're going to have a total of 80 rows. So you're going to have 3 sections where you have the spa color. You're going to have 3 sections of the cream color, and then 2 sections of the brown color or the chinchilla color before you start your border. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial on making the winter shell baby blanket. Please like, comment, and subscribe to see all future videos by me. And as always, happy crocheting! Bye!